Welcome back to the Guitar in a Year, Beginner to Intermediate. I'm your instructor, Korey Hicks, and today we are on lesson number 8. We're going to be talking about the blues today. What you just heard me play was a blues in the key of A, a shuffle. And the blues is one of the most important genres of music for understanding the guitar. The vast majority of our repertoire and of course our vocabulary are going to come from the blues tradition. Whether you're interested in learning jazz, you have to know the blues. If you want to learn how to play rock and roll, you have to know the blues. Heavy metal, the blues. Black Sabbath was originally a blues band called Earth. Even if you're just looking to do worship music, U2 and The Edge were extremely influential on worship music. Guess who the U2's favorite guitar player was? Rory Gallagher, the Irish blues musician. So we can't get away from the blues. It's actually one of the most integral parts to understanding the guitar and understanding how we're supposed to play the instrument. So let's start off with that blues shuffle. We're going to be talking about very small amount of motions today, but there's going to be a way for us to put this together. So let's talk about that blues shuffle. I want you to put your first finger on the D string on the 2nd fret, and you're going to kind of flatten your finger a little bit. And then you're going to be hitting the open A string and that D string at the same time. Like that. Notice that I am going to be able to mute with the left hand over here. Alright, so we're going to be alternating that between 2nd fret with the 1st finger and our 3rd finger on the 4th fret. So notice that I'm playing this with a shuffle feel. It's kind of this swing as opposed to what we'd call straight. That's a big difference between straight rock music and the blues, is that there's a lot of shuffles in the blues. So I've given you this shuffle pattern in the key of A today, and what we're going to be doing is putting together the arrangement. So we're going to do 4 measures of this A chord. It's going to sound like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Next, we're going to be learning a brand new technique today. This is called the palm mute. This is going to be done with your right hand. And so what I'm doing is I'm basically putting the palm of my hand down where the strings come out from the saddles, kind of like you're karate chopping the bridge, and then you come to meet the string you're going to play. Notice the difference in sound. Without the palm mute, with the palm mute. It's a far more percussive way of playing it. And this is going to be ultimately up to you and your discretion when you use this, but some songs are going to require this. So we have 4 measures of the A chord, and then I'm going to go up a string set to the 4 chord, which is D, and I'm going to play the exact same thing. So, but I'm only going to do that for 2 measures. So let's start at the beginning. So let's start at the beginning and go through the first 2 chords. This is going to be the first 6 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and good. And now I'm going to add another 2 measures of the A chord onto this. So now I'm going to have 8 total measures, 4 of A, 2 of D, and 2 of A. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Very good. All right, so now we have 8 of our 12 measures of the 12-bar blues. Measure 9 is going to be the start of what we call the turnaround. This is a chord progression that's going to get us back to the 1 chord or the A chord at the beginning of the song. And so we're going to take that same shuffle pattern that we just were using for the A and for the D, and we're going to move it down, which is physically up, to the E string. And I'm only going to be doing that 1 time, and then I'm going to go to the D 1 time. So it's 1 full measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So let's take a look at what this sounds like from the first measure all the way through the 10th measure. Here we go. I'll do it just a little bit faster this time. And notice that I'm using the same technique and the same fingers for everything. Economy of motion, right? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, very good. Now we just have 2 measures to go, and we're going to put in the A chord for measure 11, and we're going to do an E chord for measure 12, just to kind of round it out. So we have 4 measures of A, 2 measures of D, 2 measures of A, 1 of E, 1 of D, 1 of A, 1 of E. And of course, if you go to the description below, you're going to find access to the PDF over on Patreon for $5 a month. You can get access to the whole course, the practicing plan, all of that good stuff, including the MP3s and all the chord forms, diagrams, all that stuff. So we're going to be going through this entire song, all 12 measures, and then we're going to start over and play it twice in a row. So usually in the blues, what happens is this chord progression, these 12 bars, are going to just play over and over again. So let's take a look at what that is going to sound like. 2, 3, 4. start over again. All right, the next thing that we're going to be talking about in today's lesson is a new picking exercise. This one I affectionately call the spider. And the spider is going to be a variation on the 1, 2, 3, 4 exercises that we've been doing all along. So let's take a look at the spider. So in this exercise, we're going to be skipping strings. And this exercise is going to be really good at developing your awareness of where the strings are with your right hand. So as a reminder, we're going to be doing alternate picking, down, up motions, and we're not going to look at our pick. So to start off the exercise, I'm going to put my first finger on the first fret of the low E string, and that's going to get a down stroke. Then my middle finger is going to play the D string on the second fret with an up stroke. The ring finger is going to get the G string with a down stroke on the third fret. Then the pinky is going to play the high E string on the fourth fret with an up stroke. So down, up, down, up. We're then going to reverse our motions to come back towards the low string. In reversing the exercise, we're going to start on the high E string with a downstroke. So it's first fret, first finger with a downstroke. Then we're going to be going to the G string with an upstroke. That's going to be at the second fret. Ring finger, downstroke on the D string. Pinky, low E string, fourth fret with an upstroke. So down, up, down, up. The exercise looks like this. Now, if you get brave, you can move it up by one fret every time. So this exercise you can put together with the other 1, 2, 3, 4s and their permutations that we've been practicing, which I hope you're still practicing every single day. Even though we're not going to add a new one every single week, I do still need you to be practicing those every single day. So just kind of throw this one in until you're comfortable with it. You can start off at any metronome setting you like. Try to get to that 70 beats per minute as a general good starting area, and then you can kind of work it up from there. Next thing we're going to be talking about today is building up our hand strength with the left hand by trying to create a one-finger bar. This is going to help us to play bar chords and other shapes later on. First thing I want you to do is just hold down everything at the third fret with one finger. I am using the thumb on the back of the neck like this to give me the proper amount of pressure. And what you're going to do is you're simply going to see if you can get all 6 strings to ring out. Now you can really try this anywhere. This is going to be really important later on when we start getting into bar chords, which will allow you to play a number of different songs in any key you want and learn how to play songs by ear fairly quickly. We've talked about this a little bit in the theory course, which is also over on Patreon. It is a wonderful thing. It just speeds up the process so much for learning the instrument. We can learn hundreds of chords very quickly. Let me just give you a little bit of a taste of how this works. You remember that cycle 4 thing we were doing where we were doing C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, F sharp, B, then E, A, D, G? One of the reasons we're memorizing that low E string is so that we can find chords quickly later on. So if I were to take that one finger bar and put down a bar chord shape for like a major, I don't just have one of these. This is G, here's A flat, A, B flat, here's a B major, C major, C sharp major, D major, E flat major, E major. So I have 12 chords with one shape. So that's 12 chords. All I have to do is remove the middle finger, F minor, F sharp minor, G minor, A flat minor, A minor, B flat minor, B minor, C sharp minor, D minor, E flat minor, E minor. You get the idea? So we just learned 24 chords that quickly. So that's why I'm telling you, with that pointer finger, make sure you can get your strength up, because you're going to be able to play a lot of songs very quickly if you can do this. So it's totally worth the effort. And the last thing we're going to be talking about today is some hybrid picking. So I want you to grab your D sus chord that we've been talking about. Now, we're going to be learning two new forms of D here. So this was D sus, or D suspended fourth. All you have to do is put your middle finger down on that second fret, and now we're going to remove our pinky. This is the standard normal D chord shape on the guitar. Now, I want you to remove that middle finger, and this is going to activate that open high E string. Okay. Now if I go from D sus4 to D to the D sus2 with the E string, back to D, I get that. So here's what we're going to do with the right hand. The pick is still going to play the D string open, but your middle finger is going to pluck up on the G string. It's kind of like you're pinching those two strings together, like that. The ring finger is going to pluck up the B string, and the pinky is going to pluck the high E string. And so what you're doing is kind of like playing piano. All of these tones are being played at the same time. It sounds like this. I'm exaggerating this pluck up, but normally it doesn't have to be that exaggerated, okay? So what I'm doing there is I'm plucking with the pick the D string, and then I have my middle finger on the G, my ring finger on the B, and my pinky on the high E. This is called hybrid picking. We've talked about this a couple of different times when discussing whether or not we should use the pick or our fingers. If you watch my hands when I play, what I'm doing is I'm using what would be a finger-style approach, but I still get the pick. Because then I can go back and play melodies and that type of thing. So what we're doing with this D chord is we're going to play that D sus4, then the D, remove that middle finger to get that open E string, that's a D sus2, back to our D. It sounds like this. Now you can start getting creative with your fingers like this. This technique is going to be so important to us later on. It's going to help us do all sorts of different things on the guitar. And so I highly recommend using this little tiny exercise to start getting familiar with hybrid picking. All right, well that's going to be it for this week. Next week, in week 9, we're going to start doing a review week, because the week after that, we're going to have our first test. Feel free to reach out over on Patreon, put a comment below if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing you guys again here next week for week number 9. Peace.